the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
ONFIRETV.com.
The defense wanted to call a forensic accountant. And this accountant is supposed to testify that Mosby's net worth declined by at least 30% in the spring of 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh, and the prosecution hates that. See, because here's my thing. Every business was affected by COVID, unless your business was to spread COVID. So the prosecution's like, oh, no, she's going to actually prove her case. We don't want this to happen. We don't want any testimony from this witness. So they didn't want the testimony. Of course, this at the core is her defense. Mosby had a travel-related business. The travel industry was impacted severely by COVID.
It's the Diamond K Show here at OnFireTV.com.
You're watching OnFire-TV.com, featuring news, interviews, and entertainment. Broadcasting from Radio On Fire Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, here's your host, Diamond K.
Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show, OnFire-TV.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday to everybody out there. So much to get into. So much to get off my chest. So much to dive into. Busta Rhymes. Did anybody see this video of rapper Busta Rhymes? And so this lady, she got real handsy, right? So she grabs Busta Rhymes on his, butt, right? And he throws a drink at her, drink on her face, like Loving Hip Hop style. And I'm wondering, so if Busta Rhymes had grabbed some lady's butt, unwelcomely grabbed her butt, this would be, people would be so angry with him, right? They'd be talking about cancel Busta Rhymes and cancel Busta Rhymes. And so the lady grabs his butt, and he, he reacts. He didn't pop upside the head, but he threw a drink at her. I don't have a problem with it, right? I don't have a problem with it at all. And definitely, Plains Jane on Instagram is saying that if the roles were reversed, she would be trying to press charges. This is true. So, but the fact that we just throw it under the rug when it happens to a guy, that part is problematic for me, right? So, lady grabs Busta Rhymes on his butt. We say, okay, and he throws a drink on or whatever. But I think that, I just, something about it just doesn't sit right with me. It's not fair that it happened. But if the roles were reversed, Busta Rhymes' whole career, his tours will be all in jeopardy. People will be trying to boycott him and all that kind of stuff. We got to keep this same energy. And then, ladies, you got to keep your hands to yourself. Michael Irvin right now, we don't know what happened exactly. Michael Irvin, the NFL Hall of Famer, he allegedly is in a hotel lobby, has a conversation with a woman, and now, that's caused him a lot. He wasn't able to cover the Super Bowl because of that, and this is because of this lady's word against his. And, of course, he said he did nothing. She said he did something. We don't know what happened. Now, she worked for the Marriott. So he's suing the Marriott and all this. Now, if Busta Rhymes, if this issue with Busta Rhymes, if this was not on video, it would definitely be a whole different thing going on. But he was assaulted, he was groped, and he reacted, and that's what it is, right? I don't have a problem with him throwing the drink. I don't. I do have a problem with her grabbing him and feeling like she could just do that. That part's kind of crazy. But sometimes ladies think that they can just do whatever they want. So Busta Rhymes striking back for the fellas. Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course. You need to get in touch with me, DJ Diamond K at gmail.com. DJ Diamond K at gmail.com. So talked about Busta, and I want to talk a little bit about Chris Brown. Talk a little bit about Chris Brown. So, the singer, super talented, Chris Brown is. And, a lot of opportunities that this talented singer could be getting is not happening. And that is mainly because of the night that he assaulted Rihanna. So when was this? Because he's still paying the price for this. So he's upset that folks are still holding him to this, right? So he's had some back and forth with people about it. Why are they still holding him to this? Right? He's had some highly publicized feuds. And so what's the girl? There's a lady, right? Kylie Williams. She was a member of 3LW, and they've had some back and forth online. And so she's talking about the fact that, she says that he beats women, basically. And so he fires back and saying that she's unemployed, she's irrelevant, da 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 da. Now, that was a very personal attack. I guess it struck a nerve. And he started posting some stories, and he wanted to talk about some white celebrities who have also been deemed as assailants in previous battery incidents, previous assault incidents with their partners. And he names the people: Charlie Sheen, Steven Seagal, Nicolas Cage, Sean Penn, Tommy Lee, Ozzy Osbourne. All these white entertainers have been involved with some charges, battery. And he's saying, I'll keep the same energy, like y'all holding me to this, that has happened so long ago. And so, I want to know what people feel about that. So it was a long list, right? And this is good to bring awareness. It's a very interesting point. Now, of course, none of the victims were as famous or as beloved as Rihanna. So I think that may add to the high profile nature of this. Rihanna is a big superstar, and Chris Brown and her had this fight, and her face was, it looked crazy. And, it was in 2009. So Chris Brown trying to allude to the fact he's a black man and they're holding this over him. His career has not ended. His career is not over. He's been fighting back this stuff. Either way, it's been over a decade since he's made this costly mistake. Probably the most costly mistake of his career was made. That's what it was. Now he's tried to move on, but you have a section of people that are not going to forgive him. A section of folks that are very skeptical about whether he's sincere, whether he was sincerely sorry. And you have that. You have that. Now, there's a lot of points that he's making that is true. You have white celebrities that have assaulted people, right? Chloe Bailey, I don't know, she got some pushback because of her latest single, How Does It Feel, which is a collaboration with Chris Brown. So some people are questioning, why would she collaborate with Chris Brown? He's been labeled an abuser. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Okay. Yes, people make mistakes. He was 19 years old at the time of the incident with Rihanna, 19. He's in his 30s now. And so the years following the incident, I mean, he's been plagued by allegations by multiple women, including Karrueche, who was granted a restraining order against the singer, I don't know, 5 years ago. Following year, an unidentified woman sued Brown and two others as she claimed she was held down and sexually assaulted in Chris Brown's home in February of 2017. That lawsuit was dismissed later, and it was settled out of court. So as many people have spoken about the Chloe collaboration with Chris Brown, Kylie Williams, known for being part of that, I guess, early 2000s group 3LW. She was also an actress in the Cheetah Girls. So she calls out Chris Brown. So she got something to say. And she wrote on social media, "Let him come out with his own record. So genius, so captivating that it makes us forget he beats women," in all caps. "He can't, so he won't. So what does he do? He slowly creeps back into the mainstream by getting small nods for features on Black women's merit. Black women who are more talented, more worthy, but give him the okay. I am swatting the effing air garbage." So, I mean, that was she came at him directly. So she's upset. So she says, "How dare Black women give Chris Brown a lifeline?" And Chris responded, and he wrote in the stories that he's getting kind of tired of your broken. So he, makes a reference to people claiming that Williams had a lisp on the 3LW hit song "No More, Baby, I'm Gonna Do Right." He followed up with another meme making fun of her, which prompted her to respond. So they're having this back and forth. And so she wrote, "Obviously, you are at a point in your life where you are very broke or broken. The fact you think you have to speak negatively about me makes you look so lame. Your life and career must suck right now. Minding your business would have been best, but I guess you don't have a business or a real job that makes you financially stable. I feel more embarrassed for you and your actual maturity." So what's crazy about that is she said something about him. He responds to her, and then she tries to act like he needs to mind his own business, and she's talking about his career versus her career. I mean, it's just when you shine the light back and forth, it looks crazy that she's even saying this. Social media gives folks the opportunity, the platform to say what they want to say. But sometimes people say stuff and then they can't take the heat when the heat comes back to them. Yeah, so she gave her thoughts. Okay, that's fine. But Chris Brown, as I said, he's calling out celebrities who have also assaulted their partners. The 3LW singer she's not talking about none of these people still getting jobs. None of these people, but she has something to say about Chris Brown. Chris Brown made this mistake. It was a long time ago. And, people can make allegations all they want. We haven't seen evidence. We saw evidence of the Rihanna thing, right? So people are still judging him. So he also pointed out that, he made this mistake. And, when I think about Blueface or Krishan Rock, the abuse is very similar to what we think about Chris Brown and Rihanna at that time. But Blueface and Krishan Rock, they're celebrated. I mean, in the circle of folks that care for them. Y'all watch, they got a little reality show. I don't mean little, but they got a reality show. Folks always talking about them on social media, right? So Chris Brown says that he's effing 33. "I'm so tired of y'all running with this narrative. You weird ANs are the same ones that tune in every week to see Blueface and Krishan beat the F out of each other in front of the world, but that's okay." I don't know if it's the same people, but it's a point that's well taken. I think that a lot of the people that were angry with Chris Brown for the fight with Rihanna are probably not watching Blueface and Krishan. But regardless, what those two do it's a different world. I definitely don't like the energy that is put forth by Blueface and Krishan. That's her name, Krishan? Yeah, I think that it is definitely time for us to first. I mean, people talk about the religious people and forgiveness and all that kind of stuff. It has been a long time. This man, is he supposed to just die now? He made this mistake. It was a mistake, and many people think that it was some mutual fight that Rihanna got the worst of. Right. And so I brought up the Busta Rhymes incident because let's say that Busta had hit the girl or grabbed her butt after she grabbed his, right? And then it escalates from there. And then she gets the worst end of it. I mean, that's kind of the type of things that happens. And so women, you need to keep your hands to yourself. Men, you need to keep your hands to yourself. I think that Chris Brown, we need to stop hanging this over his head. Rihanna has moved on from it, clearly. Chris Brown has moved on from it. And I think it's the time for a lot of us to stop bringing this up. I mean, it was a long time ago. It was a mistake. And many folks are allowed to move on from mistakes. That's my thoughts on that. So take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Diamond K Show. Stay tuned after this.
Visit OnFireTV.com for live top stories, breaking news, and original shows.
Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com. So Tank, Gervonta Davis, the boxing champion, he's from here in Baltimore. I'm a big supporter of this young man, and he has pleaded guilty. There was a hit and run, an infamous hit and run crash from 2020 that the light heavyweight champion has pled guilty to 4 counts stemming from this November 20th incident. And a lot of folks have a lot to say about it. I guess that's pretty much what he needed to do. He is accused of leaving the scene of this accident. This accident involved bodily injury, failing to notify of property damage, driving with a revoked license, and running a red light. So the Maryland Circuit Court judge, Althea Handy, told Davis he entered his guilty plea with no agreement of what penalty will be at sentencing. So there was a March 21st report from Justin Fenton of the Baltimore Sun. Davis was indicted on 14 counts of various traffic violations related to the hit and run crash that occurred in the early morning hours of November 5th, 2020, after he left a party at a club celebrating his birthday. How's it going? So the court documents from the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office said that he ran this red light and struck the front passenger side of another vehicle The crash left 4 people injured, including a pregnant woman. So eyewitness accounts and surveillance video from the investigation showed Davis and an unidentified female passenger fled in a black Camaro that arrived at the scene shortly after the crash. Of course, this looks crazy. Now, in a statement provided to Fenton of the Baltimore Sun, Maryland State's attorney at the time, Marilyn Mosby, said all of the victims were able to survive the alleged hit-and-run collision with recoverable injuries despite the potential for a far worse scenario. So the sentencing is going to happen on May the 5th. And Davis' attempt to enter a plea deal last September was rejected by Baltimore City Circuit Court Judge Melissa Finn because it only included 2 months of home detention with unsupervised probation and no jail time. Davis has been in negotiations for a potential fight with Ryan Garcia, but it has been reported that that bout was in serious jeopardy because of a disagreement on the rematch clause. So that was supposed to happen April 15th. Not sure if that is going to happen. Davis is also set to be arraigned on February 23rd in Fort Lauderdale in connection with his December arrest on a misdemeanor domestic violence charge for allegedly hitting the mother of his 1-year-old daughter with a closed hand type of slap. Yeah, so a couple of major things that he needs to get through. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. He may get some time. And this is going to be tricky. Definitely someone like Tank Davis, you got a lot of people gunning for him. You got a lot of people that want to get money. But in an instance like this, where his reckless behavior could potentially be the cause of the biggest problem that he's going to have, him going to jail for a significant period of time, that is a probability right now. That is a probability. So we'll find out. I definitely don't want to see this. I don't want to see this young brother go to jail. I do think that he needs to slow down a bit. So we're going to follow this case. He's pled guilty. Obviously, I mean, with the evidence against him, I mean, how could he do anything else with good conscience, good faith? Stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the show after this. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on all social media. I am at the Diamond K Show. So we were talking about Tank Davis pleading not guilty, and another situation far more severe. The 5 ex-cops pled not guilty to murder charges in the Tyre Nichols fatal beating. So these 5 former Memphis Police Department officers charged in the death of Tyre Nichols, the 29-year-old unarmed black man who died days after he was beaten by police last month. We've seen the video. We've talked about it pretty extensively. But these guys have pled not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges on Friday. So these former officers, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith, also pled not guilty to charges of aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, official oppression in Shelby County Criminal Court. So Nichols' mother and stepfather were present during the arraignment hearing. as was their lawyer, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump. The judge at the opening of the hearing warned the case may take some time, said that to be patient, work with your attorneys. There will be some high emotions in this case, and that is absolutely true. The officers, of course, were fired by the department after an internal investigation found that they violated departmental policies during this January 7th stop. The department also has, relieved a total of 7 officers who were involved in the traffic stop as part of its ongoing investigation into the death of Tyre Nichols. It has formally fired 6 officers. 6 officers. So footage from this stop, which included this graphic, violent content, video showed at least 5 officers kicking, punching Nichols or hitting him with the baton at the corner of a residential street and forcing him on the ground for at least 3 minutes. So last month, city of Memphis publicly released at least some of the footage from the traffic stop. Now, the department initially said that the officers who were members of the now dissolved special police unit pulled Nichols over for reckless driving. However, the department later said it could not substantiate its earlier claim after a review of the footage. So these officers, unlike, Tank Davis, they're pleading not guilty. So he died. Tyre Nichols died in the hospital. And that was January the 10th, 3 days after the beating. Now, the preliminary findings from an independent autopsy revealed that he suffered extensive bleeding caused by this severe beating. An official cause of death for Nichols has not been issued by the Shelby County Medical Examiner's Office. The defendants, who are out on bail, have another hearing on May the 1st. But when you talk about high emotion, this case is going to have that. It is going to be interesting. Casey says that they were supposed to plead not guilty. Okay. That is your opinion. A lot of folks online feel otherwise. And they're going to go, evidently they're going to fight this case. They're going to probably lose. I don't know if I agree with this strategy, but I think that going through with this trial is definitely going to, how you have a sore and then you start picking at the scab and then it just becomes bloody all over again. That's what's going to happen here. I hate everything about this case and everything that is to come. I really feel for the family that they're going to have a lot to go through with regards to this, a lot to go through. This is something that's going to be dragging on for a while. A civil case is going to come after that. And, there have been other cases, and we'll talk about those probably next week. I don't want to get it's too much to get into today. But other cases of officer misconduct and the such. Now, students, let's take a quick break and come back with more of the show after this. Welcome back to John McKay Show. Of course, radioonfire.com, onfire-tv.com. Police in Maryland are increasing patrols, working with businesses for the increased surveillance in Towson. I don't know what's going on in Towson. But Baltimore County Police said that they're going to be stepping up patrols starting this weekend in Towson after an increase in violence in an area that, I don't know, some people are saying that they feel unsafe in Towson. In addition to adding more officers to patrol on foot, they're going to have more officers in cars around Towson. Police said that they're also getting help from local businesses that are putting up more cameras around the area. Last weekend, Baltimore County Police reported that a person had been shot near Towson Town Boulevard and Washington Avenue. Victim was transported to an area hospital for treatment. Detectives filed criminal charges against that victim on Monday with firearm-related charges, which stem from a weapon that detectives discovered inside of the vehicle. Early Sunday morning, police said that the person was stabbed near the public library on East Chesapeake Avenue. I'm going to tell you what's crazy. My mother and I were in that very library probably about 2 weeks ago. Crazy. And we parked on East Chesapeake Street. How about that? But that was 2 weeks ago. But this stabbing happened early Sunday morning. Now, earlier this week, Baltimore's county executive said in a statement that we do not tolerate criminal behavior in Baltimore County. Listen to him. Now, this is why we have deployed significant resources in response to recent concerns in the Towson community, including additional patrols and engagement team and partnerships with the business community to install cameras. We will continue to monitor and will continue to do whatever it takes to keep Towson and all of Baltimore County a safe place to live, work, and raise your families. So we're going to see if these efforts to tighten things up in Towson are successful. I'm anxious to see what happens. Back in the day, Towson used to be one of the places that you could go that it wasn't a lot of issues, but things change, times change, and all such. All right, I want everybody to have a great weekend, and we'll be back here on Monday for the Diamond K Show, 6 p.m. And we got a lot of things coming up, a lot of things to announce. New facility and new shows. We have a couple of movies that we're working on, a lot of stuff. My album, Club Music Unleashed Volume 3, is available right now anywhere you get music. But with that being said, I'll be back here Monday.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
ONFIRE TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move.